Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're listening. It's Jason Blackman here from Just Pure, and it's Friday, it's limited company time. And today's clip, as you can see on the screen, is all about whether you need a separate business bank account for your limited company or not. Something I've had experience in my 20 years of running a practice. One particularly bad experience of a client running his limited company through his personal bank account for about a year. That did take some sorting out, but anyway, we don't want to go down that route. We want to talk today about whether you actually need a separate business bank account for your limited company. Now, as you probably know, if you're a sole trader, you can use your personal account, your personal bank account. No problem at all. In the eyes of the law, a sole trader and the sole trader's business is one and the same thing. Legally, it's the same entity. It's you as a person. The sole trader is a person, obviously, and in the eyes of the law, and certainly as regards to having a bank account, they're one and the same. So there's absolutely no problem with a sole trader using their personal bank account for business. Probably not recommended, if I'm honest. I always think it's better to keep it separate for lots of reasons, which we'll talk about in a bit. But certainly, if you are a sole trader, then you can use your personal account for your sole trader business. If, however, you're trading through a limited company, then you cannot. And the reason you can't is that a limited company is a separate legal entity. Now, I have talked about this before, and I've just sort of mentioned it there. But when you're a sole trader, there's no difference between your sole trader business and you as a person. They're one and the same in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of HMRC, and therefore it's perfectly okay for you to run that business through your own personal account, because basically it is you. Now, if you're a limited company, that doesn't apply. A limited company is a totally separate legal entity from you as a person. So I'm Jason, and I've also got a limited company called Just Pure, and they're two completely different things. Just Pure is a legal entity because it's a limited company, and I'm an employee as a director of that limited company. It's two completely different things in the eyes of the law. And to that end, if you're talking about business bank accounts, then you definitely need to be totally separate. So you could obviously have your own, you will have your own personal bank account for you, but you'll also need a separate business bank account in the name of the limited company. And that's really important, because it's a separate legal entity, completely separate to you as a person. Not only that, but there's various other reasons as well that you should have a completely separate business bank account for your limited company. Not only is it's legal to do it, you must do it, it's illegal not to do it, but it's also going to help you run a better business. So what do I mean by that? Well, as I go back to the story about the limited company director who had his business transactions running through his personal bank account for his limited company, how on earth did he keep track of his business? All his limited company transactions were mixed up with his personal transactions, and it must have been a total and utter nightmare. I know it was for me to sort out anyway. So that's one reason why, even if it was okay to do, that would be another reason not to do it, because you just can't run a business when you're mixing up business and personal stuff. You just can't. Even as a sole trader, I believe that. I believe even as a sole trader, you should have your own business bank account. Separate to your personal account, because it helps you run a better business. It's a lot clearer. And when you're doing bookkeeping, for example, and you've got things like direct bank feeds from Xero or QuickBooks or Free Agent or whatever you're using, it just makes it far more streamlined. It's much more, it's more of a common sense way to do it, I think. Even as a sole trader, you should always have a separate business bank account. When you're a limited company, you must have a separate business bank account, but it's going to help you run a better business and save you tax as well. It's just a lot easier to be able to sort out when you've got everything in one place. You've got much more likelihood of everything being captured, because and your bookkeeper knows, or your accountant knows, that every transaction that goes through that business bank account is claimable against the business. You may have used it for your odd personal transaction, which you tell your bookkeeper or accountant about, and that's absolutely fine. But 99.9% of what goes through that bank account is going to be claimable against tax. So it's going to make that job a lot clearer, and ultimately that will save you tax as well. and accounting fees I've put. Do you imagine what the accounting fees were for the guy that mixed his two bank accounts together? It was a nightmare to sort out, and he was charged very, very handsomely for doing it, but it was a nightmare job. So if you've got everything separate, it's going to save you accounting fees. That goes for a sole trader as well. If you've got everything for your business running through one bank account, it's going to make the job a lot easier for your bookkeeper or your accountant. And likewise, again, we know that we've said about the limited company, it has to be separate anyway, but it could well save you on accounting fees because it's going to make the job so much easier for the bookkeeper or accountant because everything is in one place. So I hope that little bit of information has helped you today. I really do. And I just wanted to tell you about something before I go. I've got something in the pipeline now. I've got a course, an online course coming up all about how to manage your limited company in the correct way, how to set it all up, how to adhere to the dates, how to be compliant, how to save tax, how to save on accountant's fees. It's going to be the limited company toolkit, and it's coming very soon now. Over the next few weeks it will be released. So if you'd like any sort of if you like any more news on that, or if you have any comments about that, or anything you'd like to see in the course, if you're thinking of starting a limited company, or if you're running a limited company now, I'd love to know what your issues are, what your problems are in your limited company, anything that you need help with basically. So if you want to drop anything in the comments below on how you need help with your limited company, or anything you'd like to see in my course, that would be really, really gratefully received. It's in development at the moment, and I'm adding to it all the time. So if you have any comments on that, that would be really, really useful. In the meantime, if you could give the video a like if you've enjoyed it, I hope you have. And if you could subscribe to my channel, that would be brilliant. Every single Friday, there's a limited company tip, trick or hack. I hope you find it useful. I hope you find the channel useful in general. And with the limited company courses coming up, it's very exciting. And if you've got any ideas you'd like to share with me, then please leave them in the description below. In the comments below even. That would be really handy. So hope you've enjoyed that, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.